Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the North Melbourne vs Essendon game, and in what was a really bad game, to be honest with you. No one really scored. I mean, Merritt, most people's vice captain, would have scored 90 in the end. You had Parish, I mean, he went 112, but it wasn't even that damaging of a score. Martin, who most people have dropped by now, he went on and scored well. And then you have Sheasel and David Juniak, two guys that I decided to fade against, scoring really well. So, and Zeeble 90, so that was sort of not really that big of a score. So that I was fine with that, as there were some people that said he was a good option, which just isn't honestly true. If you look at it like almost mathematically, it's not a good option unless you value a trade at about 40,000 at this point. Other than that, Zeeble isn't going to be a good option. But before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And let's get into the video. So as you can see here, she's a 110. He was just really consistent, and if Doherty is out, that is probably the way I'm going to go to Sheasel, as that'll just get me the ability to basically upgrade anywhere in my midfield, I should say. As you can see here, Doherty out and say Sheasel comes in, then I can basically do whatever I want in this midfield and get to Oliver, who did end up scoring 126, which is just absolutely nuts. And Oliver does have the two easy runs in, so I think I will go to Oliver this week I think Track's still fine. And I do think because of his run he's fine. I think it will be probably a Steele or a Crouch, depending on who scores worse. As at the moment, Steele went big for 4 straight weeks basically, and then had a 59, so we'll see how he does. I don't think I'm going to fade Libba or Brayshaw. I think Merritt is fine as well. And Bont obviously not going to fade him, and I don't think Parish either, so it's probably going to be one of Crouch or Steele that I do get out of. Then LDU as well, 107, he did well, but again, it was against a weakish Essendon squad, and if you do look at North, they have Richmond and Suns, so you could look at getting LDU in, but I think I'd rather get in the likes of a Oliver or something like that, who I know is going to score 120, 130. Scott 95, Zeeble 90, as I said, it wasn't a good trade-in for those people. They were basically needing Zeeble to score like 125, 130 each week, as if he just didn't do well. If he scores another 90, then you have to trade him out. You haven't really gained much at all. And he's going to be that awkward price to trade out, as well as the fact that you're gonna probably accidentally have spent money to upgrade other areas and be left almost with nothing else to actually upgrade. Like with Zeeble, you're probably gonna need 100k on the bench, 100k already in cash, plus also Zeeble, plus also another 350k player to be able to do it, and I just don't know if there is that many people that have that. Because I'm actually stuck with quite a lot of money on my bench at the moment, probably close to an extra 800,000 or something like that, 900,000, that you just can't use because you've got so much money, I guess, wrapped up in all your upgrades already are done pretty much. Simkin 87, he's just not popping off like you would expect him to, even with and it just doesn't look like he's returning back to that form, so I don't think he's a good option even next year. Thomas, Cunnington retired last game. He got an 80 still, so that was really good. And the underlying stats, I guess, for him were really a lot better than what the 80 he produces in fantasy was. Wardlaw's one for next year, and I think if we can get Wardlaw to hold... What's Wardlaw? He's got 2 more games left, and has played, 10 or so? Played 8, so he'll play 10, so he'll probably be average of, I'd say 70 or so. Average of 70. Can he push to 90 next year? I don't think so. So I think he's probably out of the question, Wardlaw. For next year, now that he's come back, Mackay, Stevenson, Larkey, Turner, Curtis, Tucker, Sherry, no one else here really too much. Then we move over to Essendon, and you've got Nick Martin, 129, absolutely huge. First half especially, 77, 80, 85 first half. Yeah, he was just nuts. And again, I guess sort of pushing back into that frame of a that's second best wingman, but I think you still have even Gordon with a tag put up 20 odd disposals and 6 or 7 tackles or something like that. So I don't think he's still that far off Martin. I mean, Martin put up a 30 disposal effort here, I'm guessing. What did Martin put up? 3 goal, 32 possession game is ridiculous, whereas Gordon produced a no goal, 19 possession. He did have the task of Touk, and Touk didn't do. I mean, Touk was tagging Gordon, but Touk only ended up with 22 touches, whereas he's usually a little bit higher than that. If we look here, he can usually get up towards that 30 or so touches when he's at his best. So I guess it was a little bit of both, just limiting each other. Hobbs 108, he did really well. Parrish 112, I guess it was just sort of, after the first quarter, he just sort of rode it on. I mean, you would have liked him to do a little bit better in the second, but I mean, still, job done, I guess. Hobbs 108, job done again, I guess, but not many people have him anymore. It will be interesting to see the makeup of their midfield next year if it is what happens with Setterfield, because Hobbs could easily just jump into that midfield and you could see him averaging 95 or something like that in that midfield with another year of experience. Redmond 93, Hines. Merritt got tagged, which was just honestly pointless because especially when you try and almost double tag, because with them tagging with one of their midfielders, it meant that, I mean, obviously LDU can win the ball, but their other midfielder wasn't. Their other midfielder was either Simpkin, who was just shocking, to be honest. Thomas won a couple of balls, but he was, and then you probably had Cunningham or Cunnington or Wardlaw doing the tagging, but you still rate Parrish and Hobbs and others ahead of, and Sardis ahead of them winning the ball, so that tag didn't really actually amount to anything. And Merritt in the end, he got away in the last quarter to get 37 in the last to get up to 90, so it wasn't the end of the world, but I would have liked a better score, honestly, from a VC. Perkins, Sardis, Laverde, Heppel, Durham, McGrath, actually, his stats don't show the amount of impact he has. It's sort of like Blakey. He provides so much run and gun, but I mean, his stats don't really show that. But again, he's just going to average. He's going to be that guy that averages 80 odd each year. Has a couple of games where he gets a lot more marks and gets that ton, but a couple of games where he just gets 70 odd, etc. Menzie, Guelphy, Langford, Wright, Ryan, no one else here really to talk about, so that is the video. A little bit of a shorter one just because I need to get through all these videos in a timely fashion, as well as the fact that there isn't much to really talk about these two next year. I mean, Sardis has come in and he sort of ruined his potential next year, I guess. He's now averaging 75. So even if he plays 4 games, that's only an 18 that's only 18% discount. So 18% discount on 75 is 61, and so we really need to get him down to, they really need to get him down to about 60, because when you get down to 60, that gets him down to 49, and that would get him around the same price as we saw Callahan start the year at. So I'm hoping that can happen, but with Sardis being effectively at he's at 151 points, and we need him to get 89 in 2 games, which is just like 45 or something like that. I don't really see it happening, so kind of need him to get subbed off, which he won't, or just to have a shocker where he gets like a 25 or something like that, because that will really help get his average down at this point in the season. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, goodbye.